Hey everybody, it's Jana Zunich again with our class 3 of affirmative prayer called Speak Your Words in Prayer. And the reason why I always emphasize that your words is because we're teaching you to do a prayer that the power in the prayer comes from the words that you use. And it's really important to use the words that have the right meaning and resonate well with you. So we talked about different kinds of prayer in the last classes, and then we settled upon affirmative prayer as the kind of prayer we're teaching. And we settled upon the kind of affirmative prayer called spiritual mind treatment, which has 5 separate and distinct steps: recognition, unification, realization, thanksgiving, and release. Or, are you ready to receive? RURTR. That's how you remember it. So, and why it works is that each step has a specific purpose and an outcome. Each step builds upon the previous step. Each step works to treat your mind and its false beliefs and ideas and to replace those ideas with spiritual truth. Each step guides your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings to the highest positive place, and each step prepares you to receive the outcome you desire. It's very methodical. So in step 1, recognition, we started to find those words that evoke the most sense of awe and holiness about the presence or the power or the entity that we call our higher power. And when we find those words, then we begin to build a remembering or a recognition that it is right here and it is right now. So we build in our mind and hearts a clear picture and a clear sense of the divine in our own words. Then we move to step 2, which is unification. And we use our own words again to align ourselves with that presence and claim its qualities for our own. So we use that time to not only announce that we are aware of the presence, but that to then announce that we are aware that we are connected to it and indivisible from it. And then we move to step 3, realization. So having cemented our belief and faith in our higher power and claiming our oneness with it, we can now describe our desired outcome in affirmative terms. Really, step 3, realization, are affirmations, affirmative statements. And we'll talk a lot about that a little bit later. But here is where this realization step is where we name the goodness we desire in our lives, regardless of circumstances or appearances. So it may seem like your relationship is in a bad way. And it may seem like, it may feel like that too. But what we can do is we can claim a loving relationship. We can claim harmony in our relationship regardless of the circumstances. What we're doing is we're setting out sort of the ideal scene. Here's how I would like it to be. And remember, the law of attraction, or the universal spiritual law, says yes and only yes. And it responds to those things which we put most of our attention on. So in this prayer, we're going to put our attention on the things that we want. So we say things like, I speak my word, or I am, I have, it is, I can, through me. And then we speak the only and absolute truth. So we don't leave any room for hesitation or doubt. We speak confidently about what we want. By spending time in this step 3 realization, we give ourselves a chance to be direct and clear. Sometimes when we start the step, we might not even be quite clear on what it is that we want, or quite clear about what feelings are in the way or thoughts are in the way of us achieving that. So it allows us, as we begin to speak, to clarify and hone our words into the most direct sentences that we can. It also allows us to build a bigger believing. So we might think our whole life someone said you're not enough, but we've come to realize the spiritual truth is that I am enough and I have a divine birthright. But that just doesn't happen overnight or with a snap of the fingers. So what we do is we pray on this, building up our belief in that truth. We also treat our thoughts and shift our perception. Now, remember I said treat kind of, it reminds me of putting a balm or a salve on a wound. Well, in our thoughts, in our mind, we have these old wounds established long ago, again, like I am not enough. And we need to put a salve or a balm on that so that it can heal and we can shift our perception. So we use these clear words. We start to really build our believing so that our perception can shift. And then we know that it is the truth. I said it in the class before, I believe, that it's almost like when you're using the right words, for me, it feels like sort of a clunk in my body. Like it's almost like I settle down a little bit. And so I stay in this realization step until I feel that finally that, yes, I have spoken the truth and I am absolutely convinced and aware and believe and know that this is the truth. So sometimes that might be 2 sentences. Sometimes it might be 22. It just depends on what you are praying for. But that's what we want to do in this step, is give ourselves a chance to hone direct down, just like the direction of this pyramid, to direct ourselves down to the place where we absolutely know. And it allows us to, first of all, speak our words into the law of attraction, or the universe, or the secret, or whatever you want to call it. It allows us to gather inner strength and build our certainty of spiritual truths. So this is why we speak until we feel that clunk. And then I said grok our prayer. Remember, grok is from Stranger in a Strange Land, I think. Anyway, a science fiction book, that to grok means to get it on every level, in every cell, in every part of your being. So we want to get that with our prayer. We want to get to the place where we totally grok what we're saying. And where all of this happens is in the mind and in the heart and in the soul. So the reason why this step is so important is because this is how we co-create our life. This is how we make changes in our life. This is how we get the life that we desire. This is how we go from point A, where we're not even sure that's possible, to point B, where we are absolutely certain it is possible, to point C of waiting for it to happen. So we get to co-create our life with the spiritual universe. And the powerful affirmations will manifest themselves. When we speak powerfully, clearly, directly, and the universe says yes, then those things have no choice but to automatically start to manifest themselves. You know, it's like when you finally put your mind to something, it's like the universe moves heaven and earth to make that so. Well, that's exactly what we're doing here in this prayer. And this prepares us for the shift that is coming. Change comes from within. The shift that is coming is a shift within our own mind, our own heart, our own life, to produce change. Our founder of Centers for Spiritual Living, Ernest Holmes, always said, change your thinking, change your life. And that's exactly what this prayer is doing. This prayer is working on old thoughts or old beliefs and turning them to the light, to the new thought, to the new way. And the way that we do this in this realization step is with affirmations. Now, affirmations are so important to talk about that I actually broke this class up into 2 classes. So this talked about this realization step and why we use it. And the next tape will talk about affirmations. But what you need to know is that affirmations are powerful. They're spoken in the present tense. They're meant to evoke feelings. They are all about you and all about your experience. And we'll talk about that in the next tape. So this is your homework before you listen to tape 2. Think about something you want or want to change in your life. It could be something personal, like I want to eat healthy or I want to exercise every day. It could be something about a relationship. I'd like to bring more love into my marriage. I would like to have a coworker and I work harmoniously together. It could be a situation, a circumstance, or a condition. It could be a condition of health. It could be a situation that you find yourself in. It could be a conversation that you're going to have with someone, and you want to pray before to ensure that you are centered and ready to have that conversation. Or it could be global, world peace. So what I want you to do is write one sentence to describe this, not a whole story about it. Well, I want love in my marriage because I think I deserve it and my husband isn't being nice enough to me and blah, blah, blah. What we want to write is, I want a loving marriage. That's the thing where we want to change. Or I want the relationship between my husband and I to change. I want my relationship with food to change. I want my relationship with my coworker to change. And then write a couple sentences about the result that you want. So I want my coworker and I to have a better relationship. I'd like us to work in harmony. There's a sentence. The feelings that you want to have. I want to feel peaceful and at ease at work. And the experience you want to have is maybe I want to experience getting up and being excited to go to work. So that's what you want to write in this little part. And when you finish the homework, you can watch the affirmations lesson, which is class 3, tape 2. So write down what you want to change, write down the results you want, the feelings you want to have, the experience you want to have, and then we'll move on to class 2. Okay? Thank you.